Okay, hello, it's Wmpyr here to share my viewpoints on self-defense against a knife attack. So, um, the reason why I'm making this video is because I saw another video, no, not world famous, famous in one country. Famous in one country, this self-defense instructor. He's kind of the premier voice over there. Anyway, this dude um, was asked this question, how do you defend against a knife? And his first response is pretty much, you don't, you run away. And I agree, right? Um, I agree. You don't engage against someone with a knife. Why? Because it's extremely risky. It's dangerous. And later on in that video, he demonstrates how deadly a knife attack is, and I don't think it was very convincing the way he demonstrated. Just my 2 cents. He did it kind of like in a very lazy manner, in my opinion. But easy for me to sit back and criticize, right? Um, but I think the important part is he got his point across. The people there at the studio filming this stuff, they were convinced, or at least they acted like it, that they were like, wow, this is devastating kind of thing. Someone with a knife, and he tried to make, he was basically showing off. So he was trying to make it seem like without using effort, I could cut you up like 12 times and it would have been severe or something like that, which once again, I wasn't really impressed with that, but I know it's possible. So, ultimately, I agree with the guy. Okay, no need for me to nitpick. So I agree. So in a real life situation, you see, let's say you're walking down a street, and right in front of you, you see a guy just run out the building, and people running out, and he's cutting people, he's stabbing people. This kind of thing has occurred. So at that point, he sets his eyes on you, and you could tell he's just trying to cut as many people as possible. So he's running towards you. At that point, you should run away. Okay, now, for a million reasons, you may not be able to. For a million different reasons. Maybe you were too busy going, what's going on? What the hell? And the back of your brain's telling you run, but you're going, well, I just came from shopping. I got all these bags. I have friends and family here, or whatever. Well, for whatever reason, you didn't, or you couldn't. Maybe he's faster than you are. Okay, or you are you got a wall behind you. Whatever the case. Okay. Or you just came from the subway, so you just went up some stairs. Okay, and you know what? You should be running as much as you can. But if you can't, like I said, for a million reasons, you couldn't. What I recommend is the force-to-force block. Like I said, you want to have a bag to use as like a shield, and you're using this to defend against their attack. And it's not just this, okay? It's that plus evasion. Super important. That's keeping you alive, because if not, those slashes, those stabs would have made contact. So you're making sure that it makes contact with that instead of you, and you're swatting it away like a fly that comes in. You swat it away. You're like, this pesky fly. It's the same idea. But as you do that, you are trying to create distance. You're trying to create space. Why? Because you want that room. So this is a long-range technique where you want to be in long range, because if you are in long range, you have a better chance to run away. It's that simple. Okay? Because we're going back to the first idea, is you should be running out of there. You should be getting out of there as best as you can. Get away. That's number one. So the force-to-force block helps you put yourself in a situation where you can get away. But in the meantime, it helps you survive, because that's what you need first before getting away. In that situation, you already missed You already missed the train, so to speak. You should have been getting away, but you couldn't. Like I said, for a million reasons, you didn't. So then we need to survive. We need to. So that's what that does. Okay. So that's what I recommend. He didn't do that. They asked him, "What would you do if you couldn't get away?" And his answer was to go in close. And my answer, I'm telling you, is force block, which takes you into long range. So it's trying to create that distance. So technically, my answer is the opposite of what he said. Okay. Now, do I believe that is there a time where you should close the distance? Yeah, absolutely. When you can't get away and the guy's closing in on you, you should. Why? Because being in medium range is the worst. Okay. It's not the worst, but it's horrible. You don't want to be in medium range. So what we want is we want to get in close range. Okay. So when you're forced, the guy's attacking you with a knife, and you're going to be in medium range, which means he can reach you. That's medium range. Long range is you're too far away. So we want long range, like I said, because it puts you in a position to where you can get away. We want long range, without a doubt, we want it. But if we cannot do that, then it's better to go into close range than stay in medium range. That's the logic. Okay, I hope I'm explaining it simple enough. So the bottom line is I don't want to be in medium range. And if I can't go to long range, then I will go to close range. So between long range and close range, without a doubt, long range is by far superior. And that's why I said, if someone's going to attack you with a knife, what do you do? Well, do this, but do this to go to long range. And what he didn't explain is the danger there. The danger, and like I said, long range is by far superior. You have to know that. Going into close range is risky. It's very, 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 very risky. Now, he may have said that, but I don't think, I'm going to say to the point, it's extremely risky. I don't know how much more clear I could say it. It's super risky. Spar. That's all you got to do. Just spar. Get your training partner, but you got to be honest. Videotape it. Be honest. Watch it. Watch it with an open mind, and you'll see. If nothing happened to you, you were lucky. Okay? Very lucky. With someone else with a little bit more intensity, a little bit more force, you're in a place where you're caught off guard, then easily that lucky there could have changed into, it would have been fatal, So you got to view things with an open mind. And so now, if you have no other option, like I said, you got to go to close range. It's better than staying in medium range, right? So I made that clear. In close range, while it's not the most optimum thing to do, you got to go to close range. Okay, how do you do that? What this guy showed was he entered in, he grabbed a knife hand, and he headbutted the guy, right? And no, no, no. You do that, you're going to be in a tug of war. You may not even be in a tug of war. The guy will break free easy and keep stabbing you and slashing you and kill you. That's possible. But let's say you were successful at grabbing his wrist solid. So now you're in a tug of war with this guy. Is that somewhere you want to be? I know for sure I don't. And unless you're confident in your strength, that you're stronger than most people, tug of war is not a good idea. So yeah, it's definitely where I don't want to be. Okay, so you want to secure their knife hand. That's what you want. Okay, so in order to secure it, usually grabbing is not enough. So what we actually see in like real life video footage and stuff is like people will naturally, this is people without training, they figure this out. So they grab the wrist, they figure it out, and they'll put it up against the wall or against the table or against themselves. They'll put that knife hand against something to try to keep it stable, stationary. So that's a natural thing that we do. And if you don't, chances are you're getting cut up pretty bad. So it's a smart thing to do. It's a natural thing to do. So what that's telling you is you need to secure that hand with the knife. You have to secure it. And securing it, just grabbing it like this is not enough, is what that also tells you. Okay, so you need to secure it. In order to secure it, I going from medium range to that, how do you secure it? You need timing, you need fighting skills, you need to be pretty much like a fencer. It's very difficult. And even then, even if you have fencing skills, from what I've seen when I watch expert fencers, they're getting cut. Yes, they're going up against other experts, but they're getting cut. So um, that's the truth. That's the truth. So that's why I don't spend a whole lot of time here. And I believe you got to pin the arm, and then you got to go into grappling to really, really secure the arm. That's the only way. But how do you get there? Well, you need fighting skills. Why? Because fighting gives you timing. So if they don't have a knife, we can view their hand as the weapon, right? Like they could knock you out with one punch. Okay, so let's say I'm going up against this guy who could knock me out with one punch. I need to secure his hand ultimately, because if I don't, that punch is coming, and who knows when, and who knows from where. So I need to secure that hand. This is the same as the guy with a knife. How do you do that? Well, I need to get in close enough to where I can neutralize that arm. I need to pin it. I need to completely secure it, wrap it up. But in order to do that, I need timing. So I need to learn good boxing, Muay Thai, kickboxing, that I need to become a fighter. So with a knife, it's the same idea. You need to become a fighter. What's a fighter with a knife? It's knife fencing. So you need those skills. And like I said, even with those skills, you could still get cut depending on their skill level. Because now it's like your skill versus their skill. And who knows? Maybe your skill's not good enough. Or maybe he's too good. Or maybe you're both about the same. So then you're both going to get hurt anyway. So um, what's the solution to all this? The solution to this is this is where Captain Fairbairn comes in for me. And Captain Fairbairn, pretty much the same idea. You want to be in long range or you want to be in close range? He don't do medium range. So I agree with him wholeheartedly. I'm just following his teachings, and I feel the same. Is don't do medium range. He actually, there's a video up on YouTube where he says, this guy's a boxer. You're not. Don't box against the boxer. This guy's a judo guy. Don't play their game. So I agree. And Captain Fairbairn's game is close range. So he'll jump into close range, chin jab you, knee you in the balls, and take you down. That's what he does. He goes to the unexpected, because when people get into fights, they want to punch, and guess what? He's way too close for an effective punch. In other words, he's not in medium range. He's in close range. So I agree. We want to get into close range. How do you do that? Or better question is, how does Captain Fairbairn do that? How does he do it? Deception. Deception. So the way I would do it, is so once again, what do you do against the knife attack? So the bad guy has a knife, they're coming at you. What do you do? And you cannot run away. Okay, I get that. So I said, we got to go to close range because it's better than being in medium range. All right, so that's understood. Okay, how do we get to close range? I said, if you're going to do it, you got to do it with fighting skills. And even then, it's very difficult. So that's one answer. The other answer is Captain Fairbairn's answer, and that's the one I go with. I'm not against, because the first answer, learning fighting skills, that's real. That exists. That's true. Watch any UFC bout. You'll see it. It's true. Now just imagine that with weapons. It doesn't change. It's the same idea. Okay. It's just it's going to look different, more devastating, but it's really the principles are the same, whether it's empty hand or with weapons, because it's two people going at it. Okay. And in the street, it might be 1 against 3, 1 against 4. Who knows? But still, it's person versus person. Okay. So then, Captain Fairbairn's method, like I said, uses deception. So how does he do it? Well, if you look at his book, like Get Tough, he's starting from I surrender. He's starting from this position. This allows him to walk to basically he's not being attacked in medium range where it's devastating. He's not being attacked, and that's what we want to avoid. So he could actually stay in medium range at this point because the other guys stopped their attack because they understood that you lost already. So you go, hey, my bad, you got me. Okay. So against this guy, the scenario I gave you guys where the guy's attacking with a knife like crazy, this obviously it may not work because that guy don't care. So in a situation like that, this is not going to work. But that's also the truth. I'm not going to lie and say do this all the time. If it don't work, it don't work. I'm not going to lie to you guys, you know. So in this case, if the guy's going to attack me no matter what, then I need the fight. This is where you need it. You need fencing. You know, you need knife fencing skills. And that's why they teach that in Filipino martial arts. They teach you fencing. And people go, you know, people don't duel anymore. But this is where you would need it. Okay. So anyway, if you follow Captain Fairbairn's method, you surrender. From this surrendered position, there's a gun pointed at me, or there's a knife at me, or the guy already has me by the throat, and I'm like this. From there, he does stuff because now you can go into close range, no problem. From there, you might already be in close range. Like if this is happening, I mean, you're right there. It is close range. So, yeah, and that's where he wants to be anyway, close range. So that's what I would do with the knife is, you know, hey, I surrender, you know, you got me, I'm not fighting, and make sure I'm in close range and then do my moves, you know, where, like I said, you have to secure that knife hand, all right? So that's basically the general idea. Yeah, I didn't want this video to be this long, but it ended up being so. I apologize. That's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.